I've been doing some writing, so I've been going back to study Genesis, and I'm honestly so amazed by how many blueprints God placed there for us to succeed at this thing called life. One of the things that healing has restored in me is covenant vision, the ability to see myself not just as someone who's surviving seasons, but as a son, as a child of God with an inheritance through the Abrahamic covenant. I was reading Genesis 13:17, where the Lord tells Abraham, "Arise, walk through the land." But what amazes me is what happened before the instruction. There was a separation. Abraham and Lot had parted ways. Before God gave Abraham this vision, he uprooted baggage, unnecessary attachments, relationships that had served their time. And many of us have experienced something similar. Friendships ending, exposure happening, suddenly seeing people and situations more clearly, literally the scales removing from our eyes. And that's not always punishment. Sometimes it's preparation. After the separation, God shows Abraham the lay of the land. He gives him vision, he gives him promise, and then he says, "Arise." Abraham obeys, but notice how intentional his next steps are. He removes his tent, the place where he had been living as a sojourner. He goes to Mamre, which means strength, in Hebron, which speaks to association and connection, and there he builds an altar to the Lord. What ministers to me, and there's so much to unpack, but Abraham didn't stop communion with God, even in transition, and he certainly didn't stop in a new place either. The altars he built became places of ongoing encounter, blessing, and legacy. And that tent wasn't just a physical structure. It represented dwelling, presence, purpose, and intimacy with God. So when God later says in Isaiah 54:2, "Oh God, enlarge the place of your tent," it's not just about expansion. It's a call to increase capacity, to move beyond old limitations, to prepare for what God is bringing. Hear me by the Spirit. So here's the question that I'm sitting with, and I want to ask you too. How are you preparing yourself this year and for what's to come beyond this year? Are you building altars in transition? Are you enlarging your capacity? Are you staying in communion with God as he tells you to arise? Genesis is so full of instruction, and his covenant still speaks. His word is living and active even today. Let's prepare well. Let's get into our word and stay rooted and grounded as the Lord continues to speak to us and is telling us to arise.